Author Matthew Fillion's new book, Doc's Silence, The Cost of Magic, is the latest in the Indestructibles superhero novel series. Doc's Silence, the Indestructibles' mysterious mentor, is one of the greatest magicians. And The Cost of Magic, we finally hear his story in this urban fantasy meets superhero adventure. He'll face demons and dragons, fae and immortals, as he decides how much of himself he's willing to give up to be a hero. All magic has a cost. How much is young Doc Silence willing to pay? You can find this on Amazon, Kindle, and through MatthewFillion.com. Check it out.
We traveled 700 miles from the Wildren to Perth, and it only took 10 minutes in game time.
What? Our last battle with those 10 kobolds took an hour and a half.
There's got to be a better way to run combat.
We're talking 5 ways DMs can streamline combat this week on the Dungeon Masters Dojo.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dungeon Masters Dojo podcast. This is a show for game masters and players alike. We hope to bring you tips and tricks to elevate your game and develop the art of dungeon mastery. I'm your host, Louis Aponte, and these are your Dungeon Masters, Scott Labby and Bill Robotile. Let's enter the dojo and see what they have in store for us today. Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you today?
Tired. We haven't been at this for a while.
Yeah, you totally forgot, like, everything on what you should do.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know what to do when you came here.
I didn't.
Yeah.
It's been like how many weeks?
It's been 3 weeks.
Could you guys keep it down a little bit? I'm trying to sharpen my swords over here. We're going into combat. I don't want to be distracted. I don't want to cut myself.
Oh, you got a long time.
Yeah, you've got plenty of time. There's no need to rush.
Yeah, welcome back, guys. It's been a little bit of a pause.
Yeah, it's it was weird, like having to show up.
Yeah, I drove up and Scott's sitting there. I'm like, okay, where's Bill? I think he forgot.
Yeah,
hung at work just a little bit.
That's the risk you run when you get a bunch of old people together to do something on the regular, and then you're on the regular has like a gap in the regular. And you always run the risk of one or more of the old guys forgetting that it's a regular thing.
And they're stuck on the new regular,
Yeah.
which is actually irregular, but that's okay.
So it's combat. Combat is probably one of the most entertaining parts of a D&D game session, especially with our group.
Yeah, it is the part that a lot of people look forward to.
It's pretty epic.
And with our group, it is pretty epic and it's pretty inventive. It's but in D&D, it's traditionally been very time consuming. I think it's gotten better.
Can we talk about something else that's epic? Let's hear it from Bill.
No,
What? What are you going to...
I was gonna let you know. Remember, You need to follow the cues, Lou. You can't interrupt in the middle. Now we got to start all over again. We had a good flow going.
I forgot.
You threw ice water on the boner. You fucked it all up.
It wasn't mine.
I know. God damn.
Have another drink.
We get crotchety when we haven't been together for a while. Good going, Lou. Now you pissed him off.
Man.
He's going to be insufferable the rest of the night.
That's okay. Let's hear something epic from Bill.
We are continuing to hold our giveaway of epic proportions. Everything you need to get started running games. 4 dice trays, 12 complete sets of dice, 4 traditional Crown Royal bags, the D&D Essentials Kit, the D&D Starters Kit, Horde of the Dragon Queen D&D Adventure, the Young Adventurers Collection, Nerdarchy's Out-of-the-Box Encounters, Brass and Steel Steampunk Tabletop RPG, OSR Greats The Rat Hack, Into the Odd, and White Box Fantastic Medieval Adventures game. But that's not all. The Curse of Strahd Revamped is included as well. This complete list goes to one lucky winner in the US. We realize we may have asked a lot of you initially, so here's the new and improved way to enter the epic giveaway. Simply leave us a message at thedungeonmastersdojo.com. You'll automatically be entered into the giveaway for a chance to win. After we receive 500 messages, we draw one lucky winner. We'll see you next time in the dojo.
That's a lot of shit.
There was some warm water for you.
That now you have to respond to the nonverbal cues, and you did not get any.
I forgot.
This is what the nonverbal cue looks like for rolling the epic giveaway, which is epic. And yes, there's a lot of stuff.
That's a lot of stuff.
This is what it looks like. That's what it is.
Can you guys see that? It's awesome.
Right? You guys pick up on that, right?
It's an epic signal. How can you miss that?
It looks like you're doing giddy up.
That's right. That means giddy up. Get the epic giveaway on there. So I don't even know where I was now. We're talking about. I do
Combat.
things. I do things to make Lou's life easier, so he's not so miserable all the time.
The other side of the coin is Lou does things to make your life more miserable.
It's just I forgot what to do. I've got a lot of black boxes here and a lot of wires.
Look at all the red buttons.
All the red buttons are lit. He even forgot. This is how long it's been. He even forgot to mute me. Usually when
And he just muted him. Found that button real fast.
I didn't forget that.
It came back to
that's
him.
because I reminded your old ass.
You did.
This is what happens when you take a break.
This is my version of Ozzy and Harriet. Abbott and Costello.
So we had a nice flow going. So,
Yeah.
folks, that ain't happening again. You can thank Lewis for that. You know what? Thank Lewis in the comments on our Facebook page.
There you go. Not only could you can express your particular opinions of how Lou handled things, but it also enters you automatically in the giveaway as well. So, twofer.
Well, let's pick up.
Let's try.
Do you remember where it was?
Yeah, I'm starting from the top.
That's the signal.
That's what that signal is. I got a signal for you, Lewis. Well, combat, right? Combat in D&D has been traditionally like really time consuming. Probably the most time consuming part of a D&D session,
Yes.
right? If you're having combat.
But one of the ones that most often look forward to.
Oh, absolutely. But I think it's gotten better. But we've been playing for a really long time, so maybe we're just like used to it.
Probably.
Right. I imagine that's what it was like when people that use saws to cut trees down first got a chainsaw and saw it, and they're like, no, this saw works perfectly fine.
Yeah,
I've been using it for the past 40 years. But whatever the case is, there's still many reasons why and many ways how you as a DM can streamline combat in your Dungeons & Dragons game. That's what it looks like. That's how it was supposed to go, Lewis. See that?
But we already did that.
But
There's a little sense of deja vu right there.
We've got another one to do after this, so that should be entertaining. Stay
Oh,
tuned,
yeah.
everybody.
We'll see how that one turns out. So let's go on to the first point, shall we? Don't count squares. Don't worry too much about line of sight. Just kind of eyeball it. Quick, fast, boom, move it out there.
Yeah.
It's, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay. Most people can just
And
go out.
And then they're going at an angle.
Yeah.
And then they're going at the other angle, and now they're zigzagging and trying to.
And if you want to count them, okay, 6.
Yep.
They're 5-foot frickin' squares. Almost all of you should have had some kind of education. 5 divided by 30 or 30 divided by 5 is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Boy, that's a whole lot quicker just doing that.
Yeah, I eyeball it. You know what? If you're unintentionally off by a little bit, big deal. Really, it's not. Keep it moving. Playing on a grid is nice. We do it like all the time. I can't remember the last time I played without a grid. Well, I play without a grid occasionally when I go to conventions, but I don't really care because I'm just there to play games and have a good time. But
Right.
when we get together and play, I can't remember the last time we didn't have a grid.
Well, we use the Mondo mat, the big honking one, the 4x8 one, mostly because it protects the table, because we have a lot of old people that spill drinks and are slobs. But
The Cheeto stains on my terrain pieces are a testament to that.
But it is handy because a lot of times the spell effects, 30-foot, your cones and your area of effects, you kind of need to figure it out. And again, there's devices that you can get that are already pre-printed. They can just lay it down over your character. Boom, there you go. There's my circle.
Yeah, Arknight's got fantastic.
I have all their sets. I have their their wizard set, their druid set, their cleric set, and they're fast, quick, easy. A lot of them are interchangeable too, and it even gives you all the spell information on each one because you have one of those for each spell. So they're fast, they're quick, they're easy, and you don't have to worry about counting. Just pull. You already know ahead of time what you're going to do. Shuffle through your stuff while someone else is going through their initiative, and then pull it out and just go boom, drop it on the table. Done. There you go. Here's my area of effect. Here's the spell. Here's the damage.
There's a ton of cool stuff out there now that we just didn't have. We had pewter miniatures.
Yes.
And before the pewter, we had lead. So that explains a lot.
I still have lots of those lead ones.
Yeah. So you're looking at three people that played with a lot of lead miniatures. So if you're ever wondering, well, there's your answer.
There's one of the reasons.
Yeah. And I remember kids in chemistry class rolling mercury around in their hands too.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of them are with us right now, but we ended up fine. Not that I would suggest you do any of that stuff, but yeah, you got a lot of cool stuff at your disposal. You got killer minis. They're just outstanding.
The minis are gorgeous.
And then those Arknight spell effect or area of effect stuff is fantastic.
Yep.
They're beautiful.
Yeah,
and they're easy to carry.
They are.
Anything.
So, number 2.
Yeah, develop a sense of urgency. So when it's a player's turn, they should already know what they're going to do. If they aren't ready when it's their turn, they should go to the bottom of the initiative. I've seen people use the hourglass too. I want to say I saw you do that a few times.
I have because when it was slow, it's like this is getting tedious. I have a minute and a half hourglass, and I have a 3-minute hourglass as well. But I was using the minute and a half. Basically, it's an egg timer. Put it on the table. There you go.
Yep. If
you haven't figured out what you're going to do by that point, you have 90 seconds. All right, you get moved to the bottom of the initiative. I'll come back to you, and I'll go right around to the next person. But they learn. Okay, yes, it's fun to watch what everyone else is doing, but you can't be so wrapped up in it that you're not paying attention to what you need to do or want to do.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It's like I think you can manage what you're going to do and pay attention to what the other players are doing and do that all within a reasonable time period.
Yes.
And I think that an egg timer or the hourglass helps a lot, and they're cheap too. I mean, you can get them like really inexpensive.
You can go to the dollar store and get them.
Yeah.
You can also do it virtually. That's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I've been running a timer on the, my second monitor, so I can, hey, okay, you're done. It's now his turn.
The tech guy doesn't use an egg timer. He
uses a monitor,
he uses a monitor to show the stopwatch and here's how much time you have. Let me key this in. Takes him longer to key it into the keyboard.
It's one key, macro on the keyboard.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. He macroed his hourglass timer
down in the back cave.
Yeah.
Bitchy old Bruce Wayne is there. Everybody's got a minute, and that's it. You have to do your thing.
That he remembered how to do. The buttons on the controller, he forgot. But that's okay.
When we were at Gen Con and we played hybrid with Huge Rod,
yep,
he did something very similar. Like he wasn't fucking around. He's like, this is how much time you have. You better know what you're doing.
He had an hourglass too.
Was that an hourglass
Yes.
yet? I was wondering what it was he used. Yeah, and you know what? It was
it never came into play because we were moving so quickly. The table took over and gelled really, really well.
It was fast.
Yep.
It was very fast. We were all strangers. But I mean, he runs a phenomenal game.
He does.
It's fun. It's just
But it's nice when a table gels and has
Yes.
that sense of urgency because everyone was helping everyone else. There was ideas. You had brand new players that did not look like brand new players.
Yep.
After maybe about 15 minutes into the game, they were right in there with the
Even
the
that
rest of-
14-year-old kid.
He did phenomenal.
Yeah, who wanted to play, so he was there with his dad. He gelled quick. I mean, he picked it up. He picked it up and did a really good job. And you could tell he was a novice, and he did a fine job.
But you're right. He put out the timer and never used it.
Yep.
Never had to. But they're available or whatever else you want to do. Hell, set out a metronome. It doesn't matter. Just make sure you kind of push them along and make sure they're ready. And if they're not, counsel them saying, you need to make sure you're ready. We can't have you trying to figure out what you want to do when I go, what do you want to do? You should have already figured it out, especially veteran players.
Oh, yeah.
Veteran players should have their next 4, 5, 6 moves ready. They should have, this is how I see the combat going. This is, maybe I'm just speaking from personal experience, but I see the combat unfolding. Usually after about the second round, I already know what I'm going to do right to the conclusion. Every spell, every move, everywhere I'm going to go. Can already see what the other players are probably already going to do, and I've already figured out a contingent for each and every one of them.
And I think part of knowing what you're going to do and when is knowing what you're like having kind of a generalized plan of how combat's going to go with the rest of the people at your table.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to start combat out with, this is how I usually start combat out. Okay, this is how Marcus does it. This is how, Lou's going to blow something up. But knowing how the other folks at your table, the other characters are going to perform there is a really key thing. You get a wild card or two in there, and then that'll slow things down because you have no idea what they're doing, and most people are just waiting.
Yeah.
To see, what sort of mayhem is going to unfold at the hands of.
We won't mention any names, but it becomes unusual when you decide to take off your armor and huck your bow into, your opponent goes, hey, that's a nice bow. Can I look at it? Oh, sure. They grab it. Here, take a look at it. Oh, this is gorgeous. And they huck it into the river. There's going to be a few standout things.
I can't wait for them to meet Sin. Our listeners. I can't wait.
It should be entertaining.
Yeah, it's like there's times where it's like hanging out with Gary Busey. I've never hung out with Gary Busey, but I imagine that's what it's like. Just unpredictable from Giddy Up.
Yeah, well, yeah. But okay, number 3. Let's move on. We've done that one.
I roll my dice in advance.
Yes,
I started doing that, and I like that. I use it's so tedious. I use a dice roller on like the interwebs.
Yep.
I use the Google to find it, and then I just plug in.
Well, you have to because real dice don't work for you.
No, yeah, exactly. My dice are assholes. And I have a tackle box, which is basically a dice retirement community, with all my dice in it. But it saves a ton of time. I roll D20s. I roll a boatload of every kind of dice I can. Like just the other day, I did it for our February thing, and I think I rolled like 300 D20s.
Not bad. Not bad.
No, I mean, my arthritis, if I had to do that like by hand, that would have I would have been on like the Motrin and, soaking my hands and stuff like that. But now with the dice rollers, you could do all that stuff. And then I have a customizable GM screen. I just slide it in there.
Now, can I preface this real quick?
Yes.
Only the game masters are going to roll their dice.
Oh, yeah.
The players, you can't do that.
You don't get to do that.
I rolled on mine when I'll be home before I got here. It'll help speed things up, I promise.
Nope. No.
Yeah,
put those back for when you're running a game.
Yeah.
And now that you've done all that dice rolling at home, now you can actually roll it, run a game. So
I still roll mine out there, but I have evil dice.
Yeah, your dice are assholes too, just a different kind of asshole.
And the players want me to roll the dice so they can see if they avoided the coming damage, as opposed to, oh, did he actually hit me?
Nobody wants
It's
to see
like,
your
oh,
dice.
please let him miss me this time. Please let him miss me this time. Because my dice are just the opposite of
I've
yours.
had, we've talked about the twins before.
Yes, we have.
They're these yellow dice. Everybody knows the twins, and the twins are dicks. And people have tried to like abduct the twins.
Try to taint them.
Like I've walked around with them in my hands and rolled them and stuff and put all my bad juju on them, and they.
He took them for 2 days, 1 week.
Yeah.
He wouldn't give them back.
I'm like, nope, I'm rolling the shit out of these dice. I'm gonna suck all that energy right out of them.
Didn't work.
No, it didn't.
And we call them the twins because they're 2 yellow dice, and they often will roll the same number or within 1 or 2 of one another.
Yeah,
all the time, and usually a little better than average.
they're possessed by evil spirits. That's what I've come. I'm gonna bring them. I'm gonna bring them to a priest.
That means I did the ceremony correct.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them a good soaking in holy water.
But if you don't have a table that is wrapped up in whether or not they're going to see twin 19s come out, roll your dice in advance. It does speed things up quite a bit. And how about damage?
Average damage.
It's fast and easy.
Yep.
Makes it quick.
You get that. They have it in the monster
I was
manual.
about to say, it's already listed.
Yeah.
Most modules have everything as average as well.
Yeah. Modules. What are those? They're would you call them
Campaigns for coins?
campaigns for coins? Yeah, that's what we used to. I was watching a D&D documentary today, because that's what I do in my free time. It's both sad and quite pathetic at the same time. But yeah, someone was talking about modules, and I'm like, oh, here's someone fluent in my language. Yeah, average damage for monsters. I didn't write the monster manual, but I imagine that's why they put it in there, to make it easier.
Well, to be honest with you, in most of the earlier versions of D&D, somewhere in the front when they're just explaining the dice, they will tell you what the average die for each roll is. So you could have very easily turned around and said, oh, it's 2d8, the average is 5. Okay, 10 points.
Yep.
You could have done this way, even in the beginning. And sometimes I have actually done that, where it was much quicker and easier, especially with large combats. It was much quicker and easier just to average it out. And it's like, okay, you took 10. Oh, 10 again. Oh, 10 again. Oh, why is it always 10? Because would you like me to roll instead? No, 10's fine. Every monster in there now already has it listed with their average for the hit, their damages, their average hit dice. It's good. So it makes it, you don't have to try to, I got to roll out the hit points for my monster so I know how much damage, it'll take. Nope, it's already averaged. Do that.
Super convenient.
Then initiatives. I like this. Default to a 10 plus their modifiers. It may clump them up a little bit, but who cares?
Yeah.
Each character starts with a 10, then add your modifiers and go.
Yeah. Dex, whatever, you
Yep.
know, plug them in there, and it's super easy. I mean, back in the old days, what was it like? I've played with everybody rolls a D6 from like the basic and expert editions. I've done the everybody rolls the D10 and then Magic Missile Melee, which
Mm-hmm.
I mean that slows shit down, but we didn't care back then. I guess now that we're older, speeding things up is important. We don't know how much time we have left, right?
Time is of the essence.
I hate it when he stares at me whenever he says things like that.
Better you than me.
Bill's gonna outlive us all.
Yeah, probably. You still haven't found my phylactery.
We're still looking. We've done the party initiative.
Yep. And then just go around the table, which is actually really, really fast as well.
That's another like really streamlined way of doing it.
And I like that one. It's like party initiative. Okay, the party goes first, the monsters go second, or vice versa. So you can react to whatever they're doing, and just go right around the table.
Yep.
Start on the right or start on the left. Go around the table, and everyone knows when they're up next, and just bing bang boom, and out it goes.
And even with that, when you start from your right, you pick number one, then next time it'll be the next person over that starts. So it'll always be the same.
Yeah, you could do that.
Yeah,
Yep.
It
You
just
can
it
keep
adds a little bit of
rotation.
variety into it.
You could do that as well, and it keeps it just as quick. But that right, everyone gets a chance to be first.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, a word of caution. Every single one of these 5 is going to piss off your rules lawyers and or your power gamers.
Yes.
So just be prepared to hear the, but we're supposed to do the D10 or the D20. Well, now it's the D20.
I have a +8 to my initiative, and I'm going last. I don't see how I should be first every time.
I built it specifically for this way. Actually, on page 247 of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Yeah, you'll get all of that stuff.
Yep.
But
You look them square in the eye and go, it also says in the book, way before page 265, that this are just guidelines and not actual rules.
Well, and that's why you always bring this stuff up ahead of time.
Yep. At your session 0. And my T-shirt says, because I'm the DM, that's why. And that's all you need to know.
I have a coffee mug that says that. Although I'm going to make a new one. Don't piss me off. I'll break out the twins.
And that's 5 ways DMs can streamline combat. We'll see you next time in the dojo. That's going to conclude this episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast for more great content. If you'd like to hear a particular topic, you can reach us on Facebook at the Dungeon Masters Dojo. Or you can drop us an email at thedungeonmastersdojo@gmail.com. Thank you, and have a good day.